Today's video, we're going to talk about PPC for restaurants. I've done pay-per-click advertising on Facebook, on Google. I'm going to tell you about my experiences in the restaurant space so you understand if you have a restaurant that you either own or run or responsible for getting the people into your restaurant, this is going to be able to tell you 100% how to do that. I've done this several times, and I'm going to give you, if you watch to the end of the video, the actual results that we got on the campaigns that we were running as well, so you understand how well this is going to be able to work for your restaurant as well. I am Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, a PPC/advertising management company that guarantees results for their clients as in the name. With that, we guarantee more profit on your campaigns or a certain minimum amount of profit, or we do not charge a management fee at our agency. With that, that should tell you about the quality of information I'm going to share with you here in today's video. Nobody else offers guaranteed results, and what we use to guarantee results, I'm giving to you in today's video. 10 years of experience of running the agency, working with several restaurants, and then another 10 years of experience running different businesses that I've ran before that with the overall 20 years of experience myself of running ads online. You have the best information you can absolutely find on the topic of running paid online ads for your restaurant here. With that said, I'm going to go through what these things are that you should specifically do, how to do them, how effective they are, and then again, by the end of the video, I'll tell you about different restaurants specifically that we use this, an Italian restaurant, as well as a diner as well. With that said, getting into the content here. So the first 6 main ways that we've used ads to get people into the restaurants, which in the restaurant space, it's obviously hard to track how well something works because obviously, people that come in the door to your restaurant, it's a little hard to track. It's also a little hard to track what the value of a customer is because in the restaurant space, everybody wants ads to pay for themselves with the initial visit to the restaurant. That's generally rarely not going to happen. You have to find out somehow what the value of a average person that comes in is worth and then use that to justify the cost of getting them in there in the first place. The best way to do that, by the way, is having loyalty programs, or you can sell like gift certificates and do that kind of thing. Loyalty program is the main way that you track how effective your ad campaigns are. You can put a call to action on your landing pages that you're driving traffic to get people something that they can then mention when they come into the restaurant. They can help you tie the ad to the person that's ultimately coming in, as well as how much value that customer is worth. But respectively, that's really all not necessary in order to make an ad campaign not only work, but scale it so that you can make, it's so much work to set up ads for your business and make them effective that unless you're going to spend more on them once it's working, it's not worth the time setting it up in the first place. And that's where the real money is at. You could get in a position to know things are working enough to where you could scale up the ad spend to the maximum level possible to get your restaurant totally packed just by measuring what your revenue is as a ratio of your ad spend. In the marketing space, we call this MER ratio, or marketing efficiency ratio. In the restaurant space, you're basically going to be wanting to pay about 10% of your sales that you have at any given time on your marketing to get it. So you're willing to spend all the money, out there, if you will, that you have, as long as it brings in at least $10 in sales for every dollar that you're spending on the marketing. And the marketing is basically just cost of the ads or media, if you will. Running ads on Google itself, given the money you're giving to Google, the money you're giving to Facebook. And so, but with that ability for you to know if something's working just simply comes down to monitoring that MER ratio once you identify what that ratio needs to be. In some businesses, you guys are fine with, let's say, $8 in sales for every dollar that you spend in ads to get the people in the door. Some of you guys need 12 to 1. You find out what that is that's acceptable to you. Then all you're trying to do is spend 10% of your ad money on the stuff that I'm about to share with you. And then, so if let's say you're making $1 million a year through your restaurant right now. With that, okay, you could spend $100,000 of that on ads, but that's not going to grow you. Assuming you want a 10 to 1 ratio of sales to ad spend. what you would do is you would go ahead and spend 115 to try to get 1.5 million in sales revenue. So you're going to spend more than your 10%, but you're going to work like hell to get that extra money, if you will, that instead of 100,000, that 115,000 to produce 1.15 million in sales, because that's just step one in growing the sales in your business. Once you hit that, then you can raise what you're spending on ads another 10%, and then have a target already in mind that you're going to raise the sales overall 10%, and you keep doing that, and you walk up the sales that you have from this structure I'm about to give you here, one step at a time. And respectively, you're going to try to do at least 20 to 50% sales growth in your restaurant a year through these methods, primarily as, like I was mentioning before, you're not going to be so lucky as to expect whatever you make on the initial sale as to pay for everything, each person that's coming in. You got to do a good job with your delivery so people want to come back in and get a lot of so-called, what they call in the marketing space as well, lifetime value of a user. But, you get the person in the door, you have to wait for them to come back 3 or 5 times to get most of your value out of them. And then you have the revenue from the ad spend that you spent to then now chip off part of that to then spend a little bit more on ads overall and then bring even more people in. And so you have like a funnel, if you will, at the end of the day. You have a system to bring them in. Then you got to wait for the revenue to come in. Then when you get the revenue, now you can now bring in more people. And so there's like a delay on your, doubling your ad spend and doubling your revenue in that. Well, generally speaking, you'll get that back after the first year of acquiring that person from what I've seen for the most part. Or enough to where you have the ability to ratchet up the ad spend. And with that, so if you're spending $100,000 a year now, next year you should be able to spend $130,000, and then it's an extra 30% year after. But which doesn't sound like a lot, but that is the way to bring a $1 million a year business up to a $3 to $5 million a year business. In 5 years, basically speaking. Compounding, numbers, they add up quick. And all you got to do once you get this set up and it works is just spend a little bit more in the parts that are working the best, and then you'll keep walking the sales out. But anyway, you got to have a way to measure and see how well this is working before you start. That's the main way that I would recommend that you do it. If you want to go a bit further here, in the restaurant space, the sales are going to be highly seasonal as well. You should plan out a year in advance what you're going to be spending in terms of that overall ad budget for the year by month. Instead of just saying, I'm going to spend only $8,000 per month, you should spend sometimes $15,000, sometimes $5,000, depending on what your sales generally trend like the past 3 years. So you literally will write down your sales in a spreadsheet by month going back 3 years. And then with that, you'll decide how much of your total year's ad budget should be spent in January versus February. And you'll have sales targets pre-approved or, preset, if you will, for each month, given that it's easier to get a higher amount of sales in January than it is in February typically, and the like, so that you don't have to wait to the end of the year to see if you've hit your goal. You can, as you go month by month, you can see if you're on track. That is, you're looking for you do a 15% increase in sales, ad spend, you're going to shoot for 15% more sales than you had the previous January, this January, and then the same thing for February and the like. Obviously, the more that you can spend on ads, the quicker you're going to scale things up. But then again, if with the idea being that if you scale your ad spend too quickly, you're going to run out of money before the money actually comes back from the patrons that you get, that the customers you get, and then them coming back and you getting the full value out of those customers. Generally speaking, like I said, though, your goal actually at the end of this should be to spend 20 to 50% more ad spend each year, and then consistently shoot to raise your sales 20 to 50% each year through these methods. So I think you get my picture of what I was trying to portray here. So the methods themselves, getting into the brass tacks of it. The first thing, and we did this for an Italian restaurant, for just one restaurant we worked with. This is how we did it, and we used the MER ratio method to see if the ads are working. You can use, by the way, tracking inside your ad accounts if you use the loyalty program. You can also use store visit tracking. Google specifically has a way to track store visits if you have enough foot traffic itself and you have the Google business profile set up. Under the conversion menu, it'll have store visits as a conversion, and you can optimize for cheaper store visits, and figure out, okay, this ad produces a cheaper store visit than this one, and then you can optimize your ads that way. Otherwise, if you don't have enough foot traffic, Google won't let you necessarily do that. The goal itself won't propagate. Then you could go ahead and you could set up the loyalty program, put that on your landing page, like I said. As people go ahead and they get to the restaurant, you try to get their information. Their information, by the way that it works is you have the offer for the loyalty program there, giving them 20% off all their purchases if they sign up. They have on their landing page, they have to click to get that and then enter their name and email there. And then when they go ahead and they get to your actual restaurant to utilize it, you take their name and email there and then you match it up. And then you know what person got to your landing page. And the only way they could have got to the landing page is through your ads. And actually one of the things you do is you collect something called a Google Click ID when they get to the landing page and request that form to get to be able to apply for the loyalty program, because the loyalty program will say enter your name and email in order to get emailed to you a actual discount code that you're going to be able to use in the store, or a certain code. And when they fill out that form, you're going to collect something called a Google Click ID or Facebook Click ID if you're using Facebook, or Microsoft Click ID if you're using Microsoft Bing advertising. And when they ultimately use that code in your restaurant, and you can find their name and all that and compare it to the initial form that they filled out there. And once you find that, you can find this so-called Google Click ID, which is like a serial number tied to every ad click that comes through Google's system. You can take that Google Click ID, give it back to Google. Google says, aha, I know which person you're talking about. They typed this in, they clicked on this ad, they did this. And then with that, you can then see one ad versus another, which one's pulling more actual customers based upon the loyalty program information loop that you just set up. Frankly, if you're doing at least $500,000 a year in sales, you'll be able to track store visits without needing the loyalty program per se, to have some data to optimize one ad to see if one ad converts better than the other. So you have actual way to optimize your ads. So if you're starting out smaller, then I would go with the loyalty program option. But with that said, that tells you how to improve the ads. This is the stuff that basically works. You'll get results even if you aren't tracking anything just with these methods, but you'll certainly get 2, 3, 5 times the results, or get them 2 to 5 times faster if you go ahead and have the tracking data hooked up the way that I just said. The first thing you're always going to do is target and run Google ads as well as Bing ads and through Microsoft, because 15% of the market's going to search through Microsoft/Bing. And you're going to target, if you have an Italian restaurant like we're promoting, like our client had, then it's going to be Italian restaurants near me as a keyword that you want to show up for on Google, or Italian restaurant Denver if you're in Denver. And those are the main ways that they search. And you're going to do that right up front for people that are looking for Italian restaurants that are in your city or nearby or whatnot. So you can do that right up front. The second way that you're going to set up your ads is to target people looking for competitor searches. Well, like we had with the Italian restaurant, we made a list of every other Italian restaurant in the city. Then we have ads show up for every single one of them. What we would do there, which is our favorite kind of go-to here, is we'll have like a new customer special. And if you have a super luxury restaurant, I understand some of this stuff might not be totally fitting for you. And you can go ahead and you can do different stuff like a VIP access or something like that, and it doesn't cheapen your brand. But what we could do there, or what we did there, was have a discount, like a new customer special. New customers at our Italian restaurant will get 25% off their first purchase. So they click that ad, they go to a landing page with that exact unique offer on it, so that they were initially going to go find the address of the Italian restaurant that they typed in. Now we've diverted them to go to our restaurant. And a lot of people will scoff at that and they'll say, I cannot afford to offer 25% off. Well, the reality is, this is going back to what I was saying before. You have to understand what the value of a customer is and be able to get people to come back, because it's expensive to get a customer. You know, the value of somebody who goes to your competitor's restaurant and that's a loyal patron of them versus somebody who just types in Italian restaurant, the value is going to be higher on as a whole, as you will find out if you were to track each one of these traffic sources separately. We've done it before, so I can confidently tell you that. The value of you stealing somebody from the competitor is going to be 2 to 3 times higher, so you could pay more. And therefore, that's what pays for your discount, if you will. And so you want to get as many people from your competitor as possible and steal them away. And then what you do to really lock those down, but I don't want to get too far off the path here, but to be able to really take advantage of this, once they come in and they take advantage of that new customer special, then you go ahead and you have a way to get them a second time at a higher rate than letting them recognizance, which is you offer them, okay, we liked you as a customer, we're going to give you 20% off if you come in again. Then when they come in a second time, you give them 20% off if they're going to come in a third time. By the time they've come in 3 times, 90% of those people are just going to keep coming to you and they're not going to go to the competitor anymore. If it's just as good as your competitor, you'll easily steal them away at that point, 90+% of the time. We've done this with tons of local businesses, not just restaurants. But that's the best way to steal them away. And so anytime they type in any of your competitor's name in Google or Bing, you're going to have that ad show up. You're either going to offer them a discount or it's going to be an upgrade to a VIP, pass or table or whatever, and you're going to go that route with it if you're a super luxury brand. Then you're going to target competitors on the display side. Once somebody gets to your competitor's website, Google allows you to actually target them with banner ads as well as video ads as they browse the internet. So we know that they're a buyer of that competitor. We want to steal them away. They have a lot of value to us if we can encourage them to come to us instead. So we'll have a banner ad that says the same thing as I just mentioned here. New customer special, discount or free upgrade to a VIP pass. It actually works better, by the way, if you say free upgrade to a VIP pass, only good for Valentine's Day or the 15th of the month, because it builds urgency and perceives scarcity in your offer. If they just simply been to their website, they weren't even searching for them on Google, you can have banner ads show up for them all over the internet, and for sure then on a website that they go to, whether it's cnn.com or whatever, and you can do that through your Google Ads platform. You can also, while they're on YouTube, have video ads show up for them that have the same message there. And you're going to send them to the same landing page. It's just another way to get them. So if they search on Google for the competitor, you try to get them while they're there. If they've been to the competitor site, you try to get them as they browse the internet through Google display campaigns, YouTube campaigns, which are done through Google Ads still, and also something called demand gen campaigns, which gets your ads on Gmail as well. So that's the other main way that you can get a ton of business coming into your restaurant. From there, I forgot to mention custom intent. So you can also, by the way, when somebody's just typed in Italian restaurants, you can have banner ads show up for them, YouTube ads that show up for them as they browse the web, and you can get them into the store that way. As well as if they've typed in the recent past a competitor name while they're on Google, search for a competitor, you can also have your ad show up for them. That's done through something called custom intent audiences. So you're going to do all of the above. Somebody who's been to the competitor site, you're going to hit them with an ad. Somebody who searched for the competitor before, you're going to hit them with an ad. Somebody who has typed in looking for a restaurant in Google in the recent past that matches the category of restaurant you have, you're going to hit them with an ad. And you're going to have it. You have to have an offer in order to have them give a damn about what you have. You give them a discount for coming in or free upgrade to the VIP. It's a new customer special, if you will. And regardless, you want them whether they've just been to the competitor or they've never been to let's say an Italian restaurant before, but they were searching for it. You get them, and they're also valuable to lesser than if they actually frequently go to the competitor, but still worth it. Once you put up a good ad and a good landing page with a good offer on it that will get people's attention, you will get a bunch of people that are wanting to come to your Italian restaurant if you have one, because Google has all the data about who is actively searching for one, planning to go to one, currently goes to one via the data that they have about who searches for what and what people go to what websites, given that Google has a way to monitor who goes to certain websites. I won't get into how they do that, but just know that they do that. So you have all those. Then from there, Google, while they have a lot of data about what websites people go to, therefore, if they go to the competitor's site, they probably do business with them. There's a way to actually tap into the data for sure buys from your competitors' restaurants. And that is done through information brokers, one of which is LiveRamp. LiveRamp is a data broker that links up with American Express, Visa, and the credit card companies, and actually can sell you data about who buys from all the local competitors. Once you have that data, you can actually import that data into your Facebook ads account and run Facebook ads to the people who have bought from the competitors and run your same offer there that I told you, like the new customer special, with the discount or the free upgrade to VIP, whatever, like I said there, you run it there, and then that's going to get you more. That's going to get you more than what going through and with Google's data, because Google doesn't know every person who buys from your competitor, namely because for a restaurant, they don't always go to the competitor's website, or they don't actually, search for the competitor on Google. This would get the rest of them, so to say, because everybody typically uses credit cards anymore. Unless they're buying with cash, you're going to have them on, be able to be targeted then. Technically, you can import those same audiences to Google and run your banner ads to them as well. As they browse the internet, they can see your targeted banner ad based upon their previous activity buying from that competitor with a credit card of some sort. So you can do that. That's a great one in itself. It'll expand your profits that you're making. Then I already talked about Bing/Microsoft, but can't stress enough. People don't take it seriously, but 15% of your customers plus are going to come from Google and Bing. So if you don't set that up, you're just throwing away 15% of your money or potential money. Targeting all the same people that I mentioned that you target on Google. If it works on Google, it will work on Bing. That's the general golden rule. And then finally, you could have custom house list advertising. So here's all the main ways that you get a new customer. Once you get them, you don't just expect them to come in on their own. You do whatever you have to do to get them in the door again and again. Why? Because even if you have the best food in the market that you're in, you'll make more money advertising to your customers that would normally want to come in anyway than you will just letting them come on their own. Because you're going to be top of mind naturally, because you can offer them benefits, perks, whatever, and that will get them in the door at a higher rate. You will spend more money getting a customer than you will getting somebody who's a customer to come in. So you need to take advantage of that. You can actually, through having your customers' information, which if they've got to your website or landing page before, you can target them again just from that alone. If somebody's never came to your website or landing page, you can target them as long as you have their email address or phone number through Facebook, through Google Display Network, running banner ads to them across the web and on YouTube and all that. Just by having their email or phone number and uploading it to Google and Facebook accordingly. And what do you actually market to them? Well, there's a bunch of different ways you can skin a cat. One of the ways that you do it is you have birthday promotions. Have a birthday coming up, have the best, give your loved one or spouse or whatever the best birthday experience possible. And you have a package deal for birthdays, in which obviously birthdays are very profitable because people spend tons of money at them. And you can have an offer just for that. Or you can have an offer that says, come in and get an extra, take a pie with you with your meal, totally for free, which you understand the value with the pie. And you may be scoffing at this, but in order to do stuff like this, you can easily have a stipulation and you may need to spend at least $30. That kind of stuff gets people in the door at a higher rate than they would otherwise. A lot of this stuff, it's just extras. We're going to give you special table. I can go through, what your options are to run, come up with different ads to get people that already went to your restaurant to come in at a higher rate and increase the lifetime value of a customer on average to a much higher number. But I won't go through basically, I'm not going to spend this video and the time on this video to go over every last one. If you want to know what they are, I've got actual ad templates. You can reach out to me on my site at guaranteedppc.com. I'd be happy to share with you what those are there in specific. Just know, and for that matter, you pretty much know what people would get excited about. And the more different offers you have, the more you're going to get out of each customer you have. Your goal should be to have something else going on every month. You're going to have 2 or 3 different ads running every month. And that'll get the maximum value out of each customer you got, or at least one a month. And for February, we're doing this. For March, we're doing this. And that's how you get more value out of a customer. You're going to get twice as much out of a customer running that stuff to your customers that you do have than not running anything to your customers at all ever. That makes a big difference when you can pay, $15 for a customer on Google instead of $7 for a customer on Google. That allows you not just to get twice as many customers, but like 3 to 5 times as many customers through the platform. Because you can pay more click. The more you pay per click, the more likely it is your ad is going to show for the people that you want to show up for up here that I talked about. Because that's how it works. It's an auction-based system. So if your competitors want their ad to show and they're willing to pay more than you, well, then their ad will show, assuming that they have a good ad. Because technically, It's also merit-based. That is, if you have a better ad and a better landing page that you're taking them to, that the users like more, Google's going to let you show up for less money than it would take otherwise. Anyway, you want to put yourself in a position, though, that you're getting so much out of each customer through the quality of the food, the quality of the service, the marketing that you're doing on the back end, loyalty programs to get people to come in. So if they come in 9 times, they're going to get the 10th time for free, doing all that stuff so you can pay a ridiculous amount per customer and have it still be profitable to you, because then it becomes extremely easy to get all this stuff to work. And you'll also scale faster because, the more you get out of a customer, the less it takes to, ultimately, the higher ROI you get, the faster the money will come in and the faster you can recycle it into more ad spend. So instead of taking, 5 years to get from 1 million to, 3.5 million, it takes 2.5 years, if you will. The more work you do to get more out of a customer, the quicker you're going to scale ultimately. Scale your business. Anyway, that right there explains kind of what's going on with it. I've touched on, I could share with you the type of ads that we ran for different restaurants before. Italian restaurant, a diner as well, a pizza parlor as well. If you want that, reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. I'll share those with you. But also along with that and having a discussion about this, I can actually run the ads for you if you'd like and get you the results that you're looking for. So you can do all this stuff yourself, which is fine. If you want certain results, we can deliver results to you as long as what you want is what we know is doable. We're willing to do all the work, put all the ads together for you, and take our management fee once we get you up and going and it's baseline profitable. That's the type of offer we offer to our clients at our firm. That's our signature offer here. If you want to see, we don't work with just any client. You got to have something that's really good that we know we can do well with up front. But if you want to see if we can work together and how much profit we can make for you, we offer a free consultation at our firm. Reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. I'd be happy to have a quick discussion with you about it. We also, though, if you like managing your own ads, we sell ad templates. If you want to get our entire restaurant ad template that will market a restaurant, we can give you the winning ads, the landing pages, all of it for a one-time fee. We charge 4 figures for the templates, but they're all effective and they're all turnkey. You just have to change, instead of where it says this restaurant, it says this one, and it's going to get you the numbers that we know it will get. So it's pretty straightforward there. We have that as well. But beyond that, if you want to manage your own ads, you need to be a student of marketing. It takes a long time to be really, really good at marketing. Even though I gave you the blueprint here, you still have to learn small things about, one color works great for over another color on your ads, and you learn and you become more and more effective over time. If you want the best information that you can find on the web, on the YouTube about how to put together effective ads, you want to actually subscribe and pay attention to this channel first, because the information I'm giving you not only is based upon 20 years of experience now. I spend 40 hours a week doing ad testing and ad testing alone at my firm as my sole job to give you the information I'm sharing with you on this channel. You're not going to find this quality of information elsewhere, because most of the people that have the information that they're trying to teach you on what to do, they aren't running any ads, or they're running a couple ads. They're pulling your chain. They're trying to sell you a course. They're trying to make money off of advertising on YouTube. They don't really are not in the trenches like I am to give you the information I'm sharing with you here. And I manage dozens of accounts. So, and that's the level of actual being in it you need to be and have to really give real valid advice. Trust me on that. So if you're going to pay attention to anything else, you at least want to pay attention to this first. I also, by the way, have a great blog that I write, and I actually share the strategies that we're using to guarantee results for clients at our firm. If you like the channel, you should check that out as well. I, of course, also will always answer questions. Anybody who wants to ask me a question in the comment section. Other people don't do that. I do. You can ask any ad-related question you like. It could be about this topic or anything else, really, and I'll get back to you within 24 hours. So with that said, I mentioned on this video, if you watch to the end of the video, I would talk about the type of return that we've got for other restaurants actually with what I just shared with you here, so you kind of understand just what is at stake here if you don't do it, because you really, really need to do this if you want to be able to grow the revenue of your restaurant and are super serious about it. So one of the restaurants that I mentioned that we did this for was an Italian restaurant. We did all the stuff that I'm talking about here because it was a high-end Italian restaurant and we had the money to do so. Okay. This restaurant started out, we was doing a couple $1 million a year in revenue. Actually, it's actually doing quite well. Okay. However, of course, the owner of the business is quite hungry still. They wanted to be able to see what else can be done. Started to chip away and implement these things one at a time, starting with the search ads, started ratcheting it up. Within just 2.5 years, we had that business over 5 million already in sales. A level of MER ratio that I was talking about before, where we measure things on a basis of sales revenue to ad spend, we were doing it at over 10-to-1, which most people running a restaurant, that's already good enough. And if you want more than that, then you're kind of asking for a lot. So we were able to do that in just that short amount of time. This is how effective this can be if you really do it right, and really can double your business in 2-3 years like that, just by getting this all set up. Because this is where all the customers are the easiest to get online. You get the people looking for a restaurant like yours on Google, and you get people that are going to the other restaurants like yours, and you get them to come into your business, and then you market to them to try to get them to come in as frequently as you can. And once you do that, that's the most effective things that you can do for your restaurant, bottom line. Anybody can do this. So that gives you a general idea how well this can work. We did this for a diner as well, okay? The diner was they were really struggling. They're only doing about $400,000 a year in sales revenue before we started to work with this particular client. They're small enough to where we don't even agree to almost didn't take them on as a company, because usually if you're not doing at least $500,000 a year in sales revenue, the fees that we charge, it's going to be you could pay them, but it's going to be hard for us to get paid and keep that client, at that size, it's hard for them to keep paying their bills. They're struggling, and then, you got to be able to make things work. You got to keep your ad spend steady just to have us be able to get you the results on top of everything. But with that said, okay, over about 4 years' time, we took that from just that level of revenue to over $1 million as well. So we basically tripled it in that amount of time. So we did even faster growth. Now, naturally, the smaller you are, the quicker you should actually be able to grow your sales, because that means you have less market share in the area and less people know about you. When most people in the area know about you, the stuff that I'm doing here is less effective. It's not effective, as I already talked about. The Italian restaurant, to get to the level that they were already pretty well known in the area. But it doesn't mean, the best way to think about this is to say, you don't have every customer that goes to a restaurant like yours in the area, do you? Well, no. Well, this is how you get as many of them as you possibly can. And eventually, they're going to come to Google at some point and search for a restaurant that's not the competitor's restaurant, because they want to go to another one in the area to try it out. You'll get them then. Or, they buy from that competitor, and your ad eventually, after showing up enough times, is going to get them. You eventually are going to be able to get a whack at every single person that could be a customer to come in. That's apt to buy food like yours, of which, if you're really crafty and motivated, once you know who buys from your competitor, you can have different promotions. I didn't talk about this, but you can run the new customer special. Then you run having the birthday special. And these are people that didn't come in yet. And you just go at them with 5, 10, 15 different approaches. One of them, because different things are going to appeal to different people. Some people really like a birthday party. Other people don't give a about birthday parties. And so if you do different offers to try to get them in the door, you'll tickle every single person's ear with what they want to hear. And that's how you make the most money. Obviously, it's a ton of work to be able to set up all these different offers and run these ads, but you all at least can't say you don't know how effective this is. It can be when you set this kind of thing up. For the diner, we did a whole grip of different offers in order to get where we tripled over 3x the sales in that short amount, right around 4 years time already. And it did take a lot of work, but I told them, just like I'm telling you right now, yes, it's expensive to do right, but there's nothing more proven than what I'm sharing with you here. And like I said at the very start of this video, it's expensive to get ads running, and if you're not going to scale the ads once it's working, it really isn't going to pay off or make sense to do at all. However, if you can see the big picture and you want to triple your business like this is going to be able to do it. It's going to be expensive to get going in the beginning, but if you're not already spending, even if you're making $300K a year, if you're not at least spending 30 grand of it a year on just ads, you can't complain that your restaurant isn't growing. And not only that, but if you're serious about the task of getting it to where you will grow and grow aggressively, not at a snail's pace 10% a year, then you need to throw some damn money at it, or otherwise you're not going to get anywhere. And the tempting thing to do is to invest in gimmicky stuff, flyers, whatever, that's cheap, because people say, oh, it's cheap, so if it doesn't work, I'm not out much. When in reality, you know and I know the cheap stuff in life that is truly cheap, anything that's cheap and easy to do isn't worth anything. And that's especially true in the business world, because if it did work and it was cheap, unless nobody knows about it, unless it's some esoteric thing that your competitors can't know about or don't know about, they would have already done it already and it wouldn't be effective. And if they were doing it and you were doing it and everybody else was doing it, it wouldn't be effective either. This isn't like you can do what everybody else does in your market and everybody gets along and everybody makes money and everybody's going to be okay and everybody's families are going to be fed. It's like, no, you find out a way to have a better ad than them and you make most of the money, and it rolls anymore. It's not, we'll spread the profit around. The person who makes money and constantly reinvests more money into more ad spend is going to end up taking over the whole market eventually. You have to. Whoever's going to see your ad everywhere and see all these different messages and all these different pitches, it just has to end up that way, where that business is going to end up with most of the market share in the local market. Assuming the food's good and the service is good still, I will admit that helps more than anything. Really, still at the end of the day, forget about the advertising. If you just have the best food, the best service, you can dominate your market on that alone. But you can have the same quality of food and service as anybody else and have this, and you're going to take over. And that's the reality. I admit it won't be that effective at all, if it's effective at all. But if you're at least average in terms of your execution, this will make sure you get the results that I'm talking about. Because in both of the cases that I just shared with you here, the Italian restaurant did have really, top shelf food, but for that, they weren't actually growing their sales that fast. I mean, basically they were hovering around that 2 million a year mark, and it's been that way for the last 2-3 years. So they hit a roadblock with what food, service and so-called food quality offered, which is about, basically what you're going to do. You can't just have that be the only thing you have if you want to make the most money that you can in your market. And that's the reality, and that's the bottom line here. So with that said, hopefully that makes a lot of sense. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section, and I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said Bing Microsoft was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.